Canadian truck driver Luis Franco hauls fruits and vegetables from the U.S. to Canada. He's vaccinated and thinks all truckers going between the two countries should be too.
It's a matter of public health, period, And so we need to do our part, as citizens to do what's right for everybody else.
Starting this weekend, unvaccinated Canadian truckers will have to quarantine for 14 days after crossing the border, making further routes impossible. American truckers will have to prove they're vaccinated or they won't be allowed in. This Montreal company imports hundreds of truckloads of produce from the U.S. each week. Its executive vice president says this policy is yet another disruption to the supply chain and consumers will notice.
Every time that there's going to be less or more restriction at the border for any reason whatsoever, we are looking at price increase, and price increase goes directly to consumer.
The Canadian Trucking Alliance says most Canadian truckers are vaccinated, but says the 10% who aren't represent roughly 12,000 drivers. And the industry is already short-staffed. This driver is unvaccinated and says she will lose her job over this.
I will not be forced into any vaccine in this manner.
And with the supply chain already struggling to keep up with high demand for goods, having fewer drivers will be an added strain, says this expert.
Even a short temporary shortages of the truck drivers can create significant problems, especially for important things like, let's say, food.
This policy measure is intended to protect the supply chains and those who work in the supply chain.
But the transportation minister found himself having to clear up confusion after a spokesperson told news outlets that Canadian drivers would be exempt. Ottawa says the mandate will take effect as planned Saturday. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.